Hello humans, Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve, and today we're going over quick combos of the new, whatever this archetype's name is. Not only is it not going to be its name, but the name that the word gave is worthless. Basically they're the craziest fusion summon deck I've ever seen, and probably has ever been. So, let's go ahead and get this guy on the field. But basically, every single one of these Dark Aquas, when they're sent to the graveyard by a card effect, they allow you to fusion summon by using materials from your graveyard, field, or hand, putting them on the bottom of the deck, including the card that activated, and that allows you to fusion summon whatever legal target you have. And that's really honestly insane. That is such a strange way to fusion summon, but it's very cool. Fusion summoning has come a long way since combining two do-nothing monsters to make another do-nothing monster. It has gotten very complicated, very intricate, and very interesting, and I really like it. I think the very first summoning mechanic in Yu-Gi-Oh! That was extra deck based is getting a lot of love as of late, and it's very nice to see. But anyways, let's not only do these monsters allow you to fusion summon when sent to the deck to graveyard by a card effect, but all their effects also have the ability to mill the top 3 cards of your deck. This one, you can special summon it from hand by tossing a monster by effect and then milling the top 3 cards of your deck. This one, when it's normal or special summon, mills the top 3. And then the last one, the level 3, when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can special summon it from your hand and then do that, which is actually, it's literally an in-archetype hand trap that doesn't need you to play at all to activate, which is a sign of the times and a gradual increase of what we are going to be seeing in the future, by the way. Because if you think the idea of archetypes hand traps not existing, I hate to break it to you, but like in the past 2 months, we have already seen multiple archetypes getting this. We are eventually going to get a phase where just every new archetype is going to have their own natural hand trap, which is actually for the better of the game. But that's a whole different discussion. That's not what we're here to talk about today. But now that you have this introduction of this archetype, let's go into the quick combos. The first one will be very, very basic, and then the next one will be like a test hand. So for the first one, all we need is a starter. And to give you an idea of how searchable this starter is, it is a named fusion material, which means it can be summoned from the deck with fusion deployment. The continuous spell, when it's sent from the deck to the graveyard, allows you to search any monster of the archetype, which means Foolish Burial Goods is a Rhoda. It's a warrior, so Rhoda is a Rhoda. The field spell is a Rhoda, which means terraforming is a Rhoda. As you can see, so we have 3 of this, 3 of this, 1 of this, 1 of this, 3 of this, 3 of this. That's 14 ways to get to the starter. So you're not struggling on this part. But now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and show this one combo. So assuming we have barely anything in our hand, like maybe another monster and some garbage, we will go ahead and send whatever. Any of the 3, whichever ones doesn't complement the rest of your hand, which, like I said, this deck is very complicated. It's a lot like the new branded deck, where if you're actually in the grind and the fusion summoning a lot, it can get very complicated, and it can be very hard to notice how to optimize your plays. So that's why I'm keeping this first combo very, very simple, so you can know a go-to interaction all the time. But this is sent to the deck to the graveyard by a card effect, which allows us to fusion summon by putting this to the bottom and this to the bottom, and allows us to make one of 2 archetype fusions, and it's the level 5. And what this card is, whenever it's special summoned, you can take one of their archetype cards and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Now, let's say the other card in our hand is this. Sure. We can go about this in a few interesting ways. If we just have crime and we want to say, okay, I don't want to do anything. Let's say you max see me in TCG format because your opponent's cheating. Sure. So we'll do this very basic interaction. We'll search our counter trap, then call it a day. And we'll keep this in hand. But let's say you want to take it very, very, very far. There's a few ways to do this. Like, a perfect example is if you draw the continuous trap, which, the continuous trap is actually very good. I think it's a 3-of, not even for its actual effect, but because of the fact that it, when it's milled, it searches another monster. So it gives it, like, a lot of value, regardless of which time it's used. But while you control a monster, you can target an effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, and send one monster you control to the graveyard. Okay, so very basic. But now that, if we didn't search the counter trap, this doesn't matter. But let's say we did search the counter trap and we just have one of the others in hand. We can go ahead, when we negate something, we have to toss this. So it's an Infinity Barrier that shuffles the card into the deck, but then you send one monster from your hand to the graveyard. So if you send another one of these, you then tag it and the other monster into Dragos Stapelia, so you then turn that Infinity Barrier into another monster negate, which is very cool. But let's say we didn't search the counter trap, and we instead searched Meru. So we can send this card from the field to the graveyard by its own effect to special summon one of these monsters from our hand or graveyard. So when this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, it allows us to mill 5, and when this card is normal or special summon, it allows us to mill 3. So let's just say mill 8. It doesn't really matter what we mill here, which is why I searched the counter trap. But we actually milled something very relevant, which is one of the Tearalaments. So since we milled this, we can go ahead and fusion summon whatever we want. We could put this back and this back to make Dragos Stapelia. We can put it and Beast back, since we'll get a draw, and make Winda. We can put this and this back to make Dangerous, so we could actually activate Fusion Destiny properly. A lot of stuff we can do. Let's just do a very basic one. Let's say we didn't mill the Shawl, because this is kind of random, where at least milling one of these monsters and knowing the fusion into the graveyard is like, we know that's going to be an interaction. So we'll put this to bottom, to extra deck, and then we'll make Dragos Stapelia. So now we have a monster negate, but then we also have another monster negate. So after we negate one of their monsters with Drago, we can then negate this again, and then it allows us to fusion summon with whatever else is in our graveyard, or we could just put it back and Meru to the bottom of our deck to summon another Dragos Stapelia. So we have like 3 monster negates with this very, very basic interaction. So as you can see, very interesting. Very, very interesting concept with this basic 1-card combo. But now that we got this very... I can't even say basic, because there was like multiple things that did. Let's go into a test hand. Alright, this hand is looking pretty on the spicy side. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to activate Terraforming to get the field spell. And since we already have some good summoning power, let's just go ahead and go for the starter. Let's see how I want to go about this. So let's go ahead and activate Shaylin. If they Ash here, because ashing a random field spell in a deck full of starters is meaningless. If they Ash this, that's fine because we still have the starter. But if they don't, we toss the Hedgehog, special summon Shaylin, and then we will mill 3. Oh, that's I'm going to be totally honest, that's kind of insane. Okay, so Chainlink 1 will be Hedgehog, and Chainlink 2 will be Meru. So we'll put this to the bottom of the deck, and the bottom of the deck, which I'll save Winda for later. And then we will go into Restrict. So now our starter can't even be hit, and then Hedgehog will allow us to search Inish at all. Let's just go with Beast, sure. And then now we can normal summon Rhino Heart, sure. And this allows us to send any of the starters from the deck to graveyard. So we milled the level 2, so that's not an option. So let's go ahead and mill the level 3. And with the level 3, we will go ahead and send this to the bottom of the deck. And since we already have a Shaylin, we'll send that from our hand to the bottom of the deck. And that allows us to search this, and we'll just get to search another card. Let's just go with the Counter Trap. So, we have the level 3 in our hand, and this is kind of interesting. So, I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and link these two into Cross Sheep. Or, actually, no, let's do one better. Let's go into Verte Anaconda. And now, we have the ability to send it to the graveyard to revive, Shaylin. No, actually, let's go back. That's not worth it. Let's just go back to this previous state. Because we need this Shaylin to stay up. Because this is how we want to fusion summon. So actually, let's go ahead and make Cross Sheep this way, yeah. So we will activate the fusion, we will send this to then revive this. And then the Shaylin will trigger. We'll put this to the bottom of the deck. And we'll put this to the bottom of the deck. And then... yeah. No, actually... God. As you can see, it's kind of complicated. And even as it is right now. So, this is revived. We'll put this to the bottom of the deck. And this to the bottom of the deck. And we will go ahead and summon Winda to a Cross Sheep zone, which allows us to summon the Restrict back out of our graveyard. So sure, this is a basic combo. It's not that complicated either. So now, this I think is much better for what I think is ideal. So yeah, we'll have this be our end board. So what is this end board? So the Restrict is basically a monster negate. We not only negate a monster, but we equip it to this, which is very nice. We have a Winda, so our opponent's locked to only one special summon. We have a Counter Trap to negate anything by tossing this level 3. And then finally we have a card on board, but the field spell is also interesting. If one of these archetype monsters is shuffled into the main or extra deck, or placed in the main or extra deck, you can target a card on the field and destroy it. Okay, that's nice. But now, let's say we activate the Counter Trap and toss the level 3. So we've used most of our negations, but after we use this Counter Trap, we can allow ourselves to fusion summon bottom, and this fusion into the bottom, or extra deck. It allows us to make the level 9. And when this card is fusion summoned, you can target a card your opponent controls, shuffle into the deck. So, we get a pop, a shuffle, a monster negate, a Counter Trap, Infernity Barrier, and our opponent's locked to one special summon. And this, already I was struggling to do. So as you can see, this deck can get very complicated very quick, because that's the new route that fusion summoning is taking, is it's getting very weird. And it can get very awkward, and there's no linear line of play, so you can get tripped up very easily. That being said, this is nice. Are you kidding me? Look at all these disruptions. Like, that's insane. But, oh, and if Windows ever gets negated, I guess you can, like, Cross Sheep, well, nothing really, but you can, like, Cross Sheep stuff back, and that's pretty cool. But, yep. That's about it. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you're interested in this archetype. I think it's very cool. I think this archetype is, kind of crazy. I think it's, when we got Splites revealed in Power of the Elements, I thought that was the good archetype of that set, and then we also get this one. Very nice. But yep, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Master Interflax will take your soul.